Good morning everybody. I myself N. Srinivasarao, working as zoology faculty in Narayangoda branch, Chaitanya, Hyderabad. Now today we are going to dealing with the chapter what we call neural control and coordination. So everybody is very familiar with this neural part because earlier we have came across the neural tissue in the structural organization. Right now we are coming with the neural control and coordination, and in this one the weightage of this chapter is per year one question. It may seems to be a little bit annoying to you. Actually earlier you have sense organs, now you have no sense organs. Just kidding, sense organs are deleted in the new NEET syllabus. When it was previous NEET syllabus, there used to be two questions, but of late sense organs have been removed off, means discarded that information. Only up to human neural system, that brain is there, up to brain only it is there. Thereby the number of questions is hardly coming one. But anyhow, in 2024 there are two questions from the brain alone. So please concentrate on that one. Though the chapter name seems to be the only one question, means little area, one question, you can score easily more. And if you observe in this area, previous NEET questions, neuron as structural and functional unit, 9 questions. This is every information is coming from 2013 to 2025, I am taking it account. But here neuron as a structural and functional unit is 9, means up to nerve impulse I took as 1 unit. And human neural system we took it as 10 units, I mean 1 unit, within that one 10 questions. So on an average this is one question, and rarely as happened in 2025 it was two questions, right? So right now we are going to dealing with the what we say the information which is given in your NCERT, and there wherever possibility I will highlight whatever the ones a little bit more required in that area. Now right now we are going into the neural system and this coordination. So we are moving right now with this chapter, the beginning area. So in this one, NEET wise, if you take into account, hardly there can be a question which can be framed with more intention is from this paragraph, because it is the one wherein you can see point to point contact. So I repeat, it is the one point to point contact, it is the one which is an important one, and of course when compared to the endocrine system that comparison will come. So when compared to endocrine system this will come in this one. So chemical integration is done by obviously hormones, whereas neural system is the one which is done with the help of what we say neurotransmitters. So in this area a little bit more important one what you have to consider is comparison given between endocrine and neural system. So based upon this comparison, the same comparison which is already given again in the chemical coordination. So you can concentrate on this area, right? Right now we are coming to neural system. So in this neural system, routine part is the one in very lowest one. So now you can see lowest invertebrates is the one they are giving Hydra. The moment they are saying Hydra means it is the one which is they are concentrating on the for the first time neurons developed in the animal kingdom is in Cnidaria, and the typical representative of Cnidarian is the one Hydra, right? So the next one they took another one, the best another one example insects. So insects, because arthropods are a little bit more advanced when compared to the Cnidarians. Thereby they are taking that one, new insects are having ganglia and neural tissues. So this ganglia what is indicating where there is a little bit more advanced system. The ganglia what everything you might have come across earlier in the neural tissue. Ganglia is nothing but the mass of cytons in the central nervous system as far as human being is concerned. So here also same thing which you might have studied in the structural organization topic with the cockroach, right? So the next if you take human neural system. So in the human neural system, as you can see, central nervous system, peripheral, routine, that will concern brain and spinal cord, and it is the one information processing and control. Obviously there is a brain and spinal cord is the one. Whereas the nerves arising from this one is the PNS. So PNS comprises of all the nerves that are arising from the brain and spinal cord. So they can take in different ways efferent fibers. So these efferent fibers are the ones what we call. So efferent fibers are the ones which are otherwise called sensory. So these are the sensory fibers are the ones wherein information is automatically given here from tissues or organs to the CNS. Whereas in the reverse one, what you see, the information which is passing in the opposite way. Efferent fibers are the ones where you can see these efferent fibers are the ones which are motor. So these are the efferent fibers which are motor in nature. So sensory fibers are otherwise in a sense the efferent was otherwise motor. So it is the one from CNS to the peripheral. This is the one efferent, right? Now PNS is the one which is divided into what we say somatic neural system, and you have to concentrate on that one somatic neural system always from CNS to skeletal muscles only, always from CNS to skeletal muscles. Whereas if you take the other one, that what we see autonomic nervous system, this autonomous neural system is the one from the CNS to involuntary organs and smooth muscles of the body. So observe this one, autonomous nervous system is only for smooth muscles as well as cardiac muscles also, but involuntary organs. As you know, heart is obviously involuntary in nature, right? It is the one which is further divided into what we say sympathetic neural system and parasympathetic neural system. Sympathetic and parasympathetic neural system. But here another one they gave is a visceral neural system. This visceral neural system is the one. Here you will get the words like whole complex of nerves, fibers, ganglia and plexuses. So what the plexus is nothing but the network of neurons in this case. So but here what you have to understand is from the central nervous system to the viscera. At the same time from viscera to the central nervous system. So it is both to and fro. Observe the difference between somatic nervous system and visceral nervous system, as the word itself viscerally is indicating it is the one which is concerned with what we say both to and fro, whereas in case of somatic only the motor impulses are going only to the skeletal muscles. Right? We are going to another part of the neural system, that is neuron as structural and functional unit of the nervous system. As already you know that one, the neuron is the basic structure, and within this structure as you can see directly I am going to this system, that is the one very easy for you to understand in this area, right? Yeah, let us this one. So within this neuron as you can see there are the parts like what we say dendrites which are highly branched ones, and another one what you can see here it is the cell body, Nissel's granules, obviously the nucleus. So this is the one wherein we have covered dendrites, Nissel's granules, cell body, but Nissel's granules are also there in the dendrites. So Nissel's granules are also there in the dendrites. That is what you have to concentrate on this one, because they are the ones which contain Nissel granules and are called dendrites. This word is already mentioned here. The sentence is there. And what is the role of the Nissel's granules in 2018? Beyond the NCERT, they gave that what Nissel granules are comprised of what is, they are comprised of what we say free ribosomes as well as rough endoplasmic reticulum, which are concerned with the protein synthesis, as you might have studied in your botany part. So that is the one 2018 question. There is no free ribosomes are anywhere in the NCERT textbook as far as zoology is concerned regarding the neurons. So that's what you have to notice in this one, a little bit additional point that is given. So naturally, and this is the one what we say an axon, and axon is surrounded by the one Schwann cell. So this axon is the one containing exoplasm, that's a routine part, and that is the one which is wrapped by myelin sheath, but myelin sheath is secreted by Schwann cells. In 2017, in this area, they have concentrated another one, myelin sheath in CNS. In CNS, it is secreted by oligodendrocytes. So, oligodendrocytes are the ones which are secreting the myelin around the axons in the CNS. So, try to observe that what in the CNS only it is happening. That was a previous NEET question one time 2017, which is beyond. Now, neuron endings, obviously here is the one what you call synaptic knob. As you can see that synaptic knob, and obviously within this one there will be neurotransmitters which are containing the vesicles, which are very much required for conduction of impulse from one neuron to another neuron. So, that is what you say, and not only one neuron to another neuron, which you have to concentrate on neuromuscular junction. In the locomotion movement topic, you might have already come across neuromuscular junction, right? That is the condition. However, number of axons and dendrites. So, that is the basis for giving up of different type of neurons. One is the one multipolar neurons, bipolar, unipolar. What are the comparison wise if you take in this one, every area you can see something that is very common here. Axon is there. Here also bipolar, one axon is there. Unipolar, one axon is there. So, axon is common for all the ones. But then what the difference here is, the difference is coming with this one, that is what we say here, more dendrites, multipolar, only one dendrite, bipolar, and it is the one what we say one axon only. So, naturally automatically there are no dendrites, and examples as you can see corresponding one, and based upon this one 2 times the previous NEET question was there. Based upon this one matching type is given, and in the different questions were given. Even in 2024 there was a question from this one, right? But here what you have to notice is, if myelin is present, automatically we call it as myelinated neuron. If myelin is present, then we can use that word as myelinated neuron, and which is not there, obviously non-myelinated, it is a very simple one. But here the point what you have to notice here is, even in the unmyelinated nerve fiber, then Schwann cell do present. That is what you have to consider in this area. Unmyelinated, still strand shell is there. What is the use of presence of Schwann cell when it is not secreting the, when it is present in the unmyelinated fiber is, notice on this point, it does not form myelin sheath. It does not form myelin sheath, but it is present even in the non-myelinated. Putting in other words, Schwann cells are there, either it is myelinated neuron or non-myelinated. Myelinated means it will secrete the myelin sheath around the axon, right? And obviously the location anyhow they gave here, right? So, this is the one what we call a condition related with the brief introduction, which you might have studied elaborately earlier in the what we say partly in the neuron structure. But anyhow, elaborately this much is given in the NCERT here only. There they have mentioned some other points, here some other one. If you club both the points automatically, broadly I have covered all the ones within the stipulated time, right? Right now we are going with the generation and conduction of nerve impulse. Earlier we have seen what is the basic structure of the neuron, and that is the one what is the function of that one is conduction of impulses, and point to point contact, to try to recall that one more time. Now, so neurons, obviously these are the ones what we say excitable cells. So, when there are excitable cells which are there in there, they are the ones which are excitable cells in the polarized state. So, what the polarized state is? Obviously in the resting state inside the axon there will be negative charge, outside will be positive charge. So, negative charge, positive charge, now that is the one which is said to be polarized state of a neuron. So here the question is, do you know why the membrane of neuron is polarized? I already mentioned, just answer for that question only, which is given here. Now, so this is the one, the ionic channels are selectively permeable. Observe that word, selectively permeable to different ions. So whenever the neuron is rest, observe this one, in the rest, this axonal membrane is comparatively more permeable to potassium ions and nearly impermeable, observe this word, impermeable to sodium. And again observe this one, see, it is nearly impermeable, that is a point for potassium. But observe this one, impermeable to proteins. Observe this one, impermeable means only to proteins. We cannot say impermeable for sodium because it's nearly impermeable. So in this connection, previously there was a NEET question. In this connection, they have asked in such a way, the question is in 2013, where they said highest concentration regarding this one, intracellular ion, which is the highest concentration is intracellularly, how much is, which one is having more concentration. So that's what they said is for K plus. So that's, mind you, regarding this one, if anybody asks extracellularly, obviously it will become sodium, which you have to understand that one. So intracellular concentration, which is the kind of highest, is one, obviously potassium. That was the previous NEET question. It is not mentioned anywhere here. We have to understand from this one, right? So exoplasm, inside is the one, high concentration of sodium, negatively charged proteins, and here I am taking a different color for this one so that some points can be seen differently. Now, high concentration of sodium and low concentration of potassium. Where you get to notice this one, the fluid outside. So the outside the neuron, it is the one, outside the neuron means axon in the ECF. In the ECF surrounding the axon, that is the one outside, where there will be this concentration. Wherever this concentration is there, that is inside the axon. So quite opposite. So that's why in the very next part we can see that one, how this concentration is against concentration gradient. So to maintain that against concentration gradient one, how it is able to maintain that one means, obviously with the help of pumping up of the ions, you can see sodium potassium pump. So this sodium potassium pump, which is transporting 3 sodium outwards, obviously 2 potassium into the cell in exchange. Observe this word pump, that pump word is concentrating against concentration gradient. So whenever this concentration gradient is maintained, you can notice this one, against concentration gradient, as you can notice here, we are going to for different color here. Now, this type. So this is obviously in the ECF and this is obviously in the exoplasm. So this type of arrangement will be there, that is the one, whenever this one is present like this, inside negative, outside positive, polarized state. But here in the part A, part B, like that one, whatever they give, whenever it is given a stimulus, it becomes negatively charged and therefore polarized. That is point already given. This is what we call resting membrane potential, resting potential. So again, coming back to the conduction along the axon. The conduction, now we are going along the axon. So when a stimulus is applied, obviously in this area what happens is rapid influx of sodium. Rapid influx of sodium is the one which is changing inside that one. As you can see here, this rapid influx of one sodium, that is whereby it is coming inside positive, obviously outside there will be negative ones. So that's outer surface of the membrane becomes negatively charged and inner side becomes obviously positive charge. Influx, inflow. So the inner side becomes positively charged. So this polarity is automatically disturbed, and this the difference in this one is what we call action potential now generated. This action potential in fact is nothing but what we call nerve impulse. And how this nerve action potential change occurred just now, I said this one, influx of sodium, that is the one happening. Automatically, this information, the membrane has a positive charge to the outer surface, a negative charge on its inner surface, and this current flows on the inner surface from site A to site B. Means if you are taking the axon into different parts, site A to the site B, that is the one which is happening, right? Outer surface, everything is the one which is containing routinely. Now, the sequence is repeated. Observe this one, this impulse means the sequence is repeated along all the length of the axon. However, what you have to notice here is, whatever happened, this is very short-lived one. So, since this is the one, as they have mentioned, the permeability, the stimulus-induced permeability sodium is extremely short-lived. So, naturally it is followed by, observe this one, followed means after influx of sodium, followed by the what you call permeability to potassium. And that too, everything is occurring within the fraction of seconds, due to which potassium diffuses outside, then automatically restores the resting. Since restores the resting means, obviously we call this one as repolarization. Whereas this one is the one what we say depolarization. So, first there is a polarity that is disturbed, thereby becoming into depolarization. Next it is the one which is brought to the normal one because of efflux. Try to observe that one. This everything is occurring due to efflux. Earlier we used the word influx, and here there is occurring of efflux of potassium. So, due to which repolarization occurred. Repolarization occurred means that neuron is made ready to conduct another impulse, right? So, this cycle is the one which is repeated throughout the length of axon. Now, the axon is, this is the information which is reached to the synaptic nerves area, means narrow ending area, neuron ending area it came. And once it comes to the neuron ending, it has to be given outside, means there should be compulsory release of neurotransmitters. So, for the release of neurotransmitters under normal condition, I am taking the account of whenever it is passing impulse from one neuron to the other neuron, then we call that one as a transmission of these impulses. So, this transmission of impulse is obviously from one neuron to the other neuron. In general, we are taking right now here. So, the next topic we are part of that one is going to transmission of impulse. Here transmission of impulse is the one what we are going through junctions. They are the ones which are called synaptic junctions. So, a synapse is formed by, observe this word and concentrate on this diagram. A synapse is the one which is formed by what we say a presynaptic membrane, synaptic cleft and postsynaptic membrane, that is only total together called synapse. So, in this area if you see, the neuron ending is the one where there is containing synaptic vesicles. These synaptic vesicles are obviously containing what we say neurotransmitters. So, these neurotransmitters are already produced and are stored in the vesicles in the synaptic ending, in the neuron ending. So, there the neurotransmitters, as you can see here, the neurotransmitters, right. So, the synapse is containing synaptic cleft. Synaptic cleft means only the physical gap, but before that one whatever the neuron, that is the one presynaptic membrane. After that one whatever it is, there is a postsynaptic membrane, altogether only synapse. So, whenever impulse comes into this area, arises in this area, as you can see in this arrow mark. So, here actually the calcium ions will come inside. These calcium ions are binding with this one, thereby the release of neurotransmitters into the synaptic cleft. Then that will be the one which is stimulating the postsynaptic membrane. So this postsynaptic membrane is the one which is containing the receptors for these neurotransmitters. So as you can see the word receptors. So the receptors for neurotransmitters are present on the postsynaptic membrane. And whenever this neurotransmitter is touching this area, then obviously the impulse is conducted from one neuron to the other. In other words, an impulse is transmitted from one neuron to the other, right? These are the ones synapses. You can see two different ones. One is electrical synapses. Another one is what you have seen, right? One is general neuronal synapse. So that is chemical synapse, just now we have seen. The other one is electrical synapse. If we compare electrical synapse and chemical synapse, in the chemical synapse compulsorily there will be what we see, separation, the fluid space, that is called synaptic cleft. And in the presynaptic neuron transmits an impulse, how that is just now have, and here there is called release of neurotransmitters, which are in the transmission of impulse through these synapses. So the axonal terminals all just now I have explained. But in the electrical synapse, observe this one, transmission across the this electrical synapse is very similar to impulse conduction along a single axon. So since there is no physical gap here, it is always faster than that of the chemical synapse. It is always faster than that of this one. And electrical synapse are rare in our the system, right? So chemical synapse, electrical synapse, try to take that comparison. And chemical synapses, what we say generally, this is the one in this area. So axon, terminal and synapse, obviously this is a neuronal synapse because information is passing from one neuron to the other. So there is a physical gap. This gap is missing in the electrical synapse, thereby conduction will be very faster. That's why they said it is very similar to that of that one. So let us go with the next part, central nervous system. And as you are observing right one here, it is the command and control system. Which one is the command control system? Obviously the brain, which is the command and control system, right? So it controls the different voluntary movements, balance of the body, functioning of vital organs, lungs, heart, kidneys, routine, thermoregulation, routine, hunger, thirst. But this circadian rhythm, try to concentrate on this one. In this NCERT textbook, this circadian rhythm word will come across actually in the chemical coordination related with the hormone secreted by the pineal gland, melatonin. However, this brain is the one which is having a regulation on this one, circadian rhythm. Here in the neural system it is mentioned here only, whereas other functions like thermoregulation, hunger, thirst, all this one which are coming as a functioning of different parts of the brain, right? And the other one is automatically processing of vision, hearing, speech, memory, intelligence, emotions, blah blah blah, this one, right? So here our brain is the one which is protected by meninges. These are the ones, the brain is the one which is covered by meninges, and obviously you know from outer to inner, this is the one, outermost one is outermost one, dura mater, and obviously pia mater is the one which is innermost one, whereas this arachnoid is the one which is the middle layer. So sequential wise also meninges all this one, and 2025 they gave this one arachnoid in the matching part, which we will see in this area within short time. Right now from this paragraph, these are the meninges, that one, and brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. That's a very simple one, so which you need not consider much that words at this moment in the revision time, right? Coming back to this point, forebrain. So if you take the forebrain, so the forebrain consists of the words concentrated on this one, which is given cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. Cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. Do you think that one forebrain consists of only the cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus? But here people are missing something. Better to go in this area for this what we say summary. In this summary area, you can see that so the brain and spinal cord, brain can be divided forebrain, midbrain. Forebrain consists of cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. That point is given. Routine, we are going to coming back for that one. Right? Now, a little bit here. So, cerebrum longitudinally into two halves, they are called cerebral hemispheres. So, these hemispheres are connected by tract of nerve fibers. Observe this word tract of nerve fibers. This tract is nothing but the one what we say myelinated neurons. These are concerned, they are made with the myelinated neurons. The tract what is nothing but the nerve fibers that are there. The nerves, we do not use the word in the central nervous system, there you have used the word tract only. And this is what we call corpus callosum. So, the corpus callosum is obviously made with the myelinated neurons, that is a point here. And within this cerebrum, there is what we call cerebral cortex. Outer will be cortex and inner side will be medulla. This cortex is the one which is grey matter. The moment we say the grey matter means try to recall what we have studied in the neuron structure. Grey matter is the one what we say greyish in appearance because there is no myelin. Why? Because there is no question of myelin which is secreted there. So, thereby greyish in appearance. So, here what are concentrated, that is why the word neuronal cell bodies which are concentrated giving that color for that one. And within the cerebral cortex what are the areas are there? As you can see here, motor areas, sensory areas, and another one which are neither clearly sensory nor other one is the one which are association areas. So, association areas are there which are present, right? And association areas means they are concerned with the functions, memory and communications which are neither clearly sensory nor clearly motor, that is a condition. Inner part of that one is cerebral hemispheres. In that area opaque white appearance because that is the one which is containing myelinated part. Grey matter is the one non-myelinated one. And here you can see an important one what you call thalamus. So, thalamus functioning if you take which is the major coordinating center for sensory and motor signaling. So, major coordinating center for sensory and motor signaling is thalamus, and thalamus is the one which is what we say wrapped around. The cerebrum is wrapped around the thalamus. Now, you can take next one what we say, that is hypothalamus. I am taking a different color for this one. Hypothalamus. This hypothalamus is the one maintaining the body temperature. Thereby, a word that can be used to describe that one is thermostat. And that is the one urge for eating as well as drinking. And it is also containing neurosecretory cells which will secrete the hormones. These hormones are the ones which are called hypothalamic hormones. Hypothalamic hormones, in the next chapter here you can come across chemical coordination in that one. These these hormones can be that is releasing hormones, inhibitory hormones or oxytocin and ADH. This will be dealt in detail in discussion in the next chapter. Right now only thing, hypothalamus will secrete the hormones, that is important one what you have to notice. However, there is a one what we say limbic system or limbic lobe is another part what you can see here. So, the limbic system or limbic lobe. So, the limbic system or limbic lobe is the one which is formed by what? Inner parts of cerebral hemispheres, amygdala and hippocampus. So, inner parts of cerebral hemispheres, amygdala, hippocampus are the ones which will form a complex limbic lobe or limbic system. This limbic system plus hypothalamus, they are the ones which are called emotional brain because it is concerned with the emotional reactions, excitement, pleasure, rage, fear and obviously motivation. These are all the ones which are done. These actions are under the control of, these reactions are under the control of limbic lobe or limbic system. Along with the hypothalamus, this will form. So, the next part of the brain, that is what we are taking is midbrain, and midbrain is the one in this area what we say comprise of 4 round swellings, they are the ones which are called corpora quadrigemina. This quadra is the one which is including 4. The 4 optic lobes are the ones which are the concentration corpora quadrigemina. If you are able to recall, in case of frog there are only 2 optic lobes, thereby it was corpora bigemina, but right now in the human being. And in between these lobes, there passes a canal. This canal is called cerebral aqueduct. So if you are able to recall, the brain is the one internally containing the ventricles. The ventricles of the brain is filled with cerebrospinal fluid, and the third ventricle and fourth ventricle are connected by cerebral aqueduct. Since the word cerebral aqueduct is there, I took liberty to add that point which is nowhere here. Right. The next one, if you see hindbrain. So in the hindbrain, what are the parts that can be seen here are, coming back again with the red color routine. So the ones which are pons, cerebellum, medulla. Otherwise medulla oblongata. So the pons consists that in the different part, again you can see the word tracts, narrow tracts, that interconnect different regions of the brain. Whereas cerebellum, again you see very convoluted surface. Try to recall, cerebrum is also containing very convoluted surface. Gyri sulci you might have come across, not in the NCERT but in the diagram it is there. So this is the one very convoluted surface, and thereby accommodating more number of neurons, right? And there is a medulla oblongata, obviously connected to the spinal cord. And medulla containing the center control for respiration, cardiovascular reflexes and gastric secretions. And if you are able to recall, the same medulla oblongata is also containing what we say chemosensitive areas. So try to recall, in the breathing and exchange of gases you come across chemosensitive areas. In the same manner, if you take this what we say pons, it is the one containing pneumotaxic center. So the pneumotaxic center is there in that one, right? And observe this one last point here, it is a brain stem. The brain stem comprises of what is midbrain, pons and medulla oblongata. They are the ones which together will form what we say brain stem. Now in this connection I am going back a little bit to the diagram, because some parts which are there in the diagram, let us concentrate on that one or two points which they may be interpreting. And in this area, this is the one what we call cerebellum. This cerebellum is giving tree-like appearance, thereby if anybody say it is called arbor vitae, and this arbor vitae is the one which they call tree of life. Arbor vitae is the one which is the tree of life. Based upon the diagram they can give that type of question. Right now we are going with the summary, some of the points which are not given in the regular textbook, those points are there in this one. Let us take that also into account. So summary also some points which they have mentioned. For example, in the regular one, if you see this limbic system which is concerned with olfaction as well as autonomic responses. These autonomic responses, olfaction is missing in the regular text, but that is the one which is given here. However, another point which is mentioned here but not in the regular text is the midbrain is receiving and integrating visual and tactile. Observe that word visual anybody can see, but that is tactile as well as auditory inputs. This is not in the regular one which you have to concentrate here also. Regular inputs, these auditory inputs are also the ones which are under processing of midbrain, right? So this is the one which is the remaining, and up to this one it is a condition. The remaining all these parts, exercises, anything, it's a routine one. As you have seen this, these questions, everything is a routine part, nothing new in this one. So, for example, differentiate between myelinated and non-myelinated axons. If you take myelinated, they are the ones which are Schwann cells secreting the myelin. Non-myelinated means myelin sheath is not there. Dendrites and axons, you have studied. Thalamus and hypothalamus. Thalamus and hypothalamus both are the parts of the forebrain only. Lower part will be the hypothalamus. Cerebrum and cerebellum. Cerebrum is the convoluted surface which is there and which is the biggest part of the brain that is there in the forebrain. Cerebellum is the one which is the hindbrain. So, this type of, this is the one broadly the information which is related for your neural control and coordination. Right, as some of the questions which I wish to discuss with you, which are there with the 2023, 24, 25 in the NEET examination, and observe this word, whatever given here are, that is a re-examination, that is what was conducted, and this is the one what was the matching question they gave, which is comprising with the neuron as a structural functional unit. So, the Schwann cells are the ones which are matching the myelin sheath, and synaptic nerves are the ones which are obviously concerned with the neurotransmitters, and bipolar neurons are there in one of the layers of retina. So, obviously multipolar neurons are there with the cerebral cortex. This is a regular one only. So, 3142, if you say that 3142, that is the one, obviously this is the answer, right. This is the one question in 2024. The next, if you see in this one, as I already said, in that one 2024 brain area they gave the question. See, 2024 re-examination, that is a different one. It cannot be taken as a part of this one. Actually, they gave 2 questions only from this chapter. Whatever you have seen earlier is in the re-examination, there is only 1 question. So, that is why I took the liberty, it is the one which is usually 1 question of late. So, pons, hypothalamus, medulla, cerebellum. So, if you see in this one, pons, medulla, the pons is the one which is connecting the different regions of the brain. So, obviously, this is the one what you can take third. So, A3, that is only one. By, if you are very confident in knowing of such a type of one, to save the time in the examination, after observing this one, if you see, there is only one option given like this one, thereby this should be the answer, obviously they will give this one. The remaining all automatically follows, and hypothalamus is the one which is containing neurosecretory cells which are secreting the hormones, and medulla oblongata is the one controls the respiration and gastric secretions. So, that is there 3, 4, obviously it will be 2, 1. Cerebellum provides all these connections, regulator, posture, balance, that is everyone, right. And another question they have asked, same one is 2024, but this time statement model. The cerebral hemispheres are connected by narrow tracts known as corpus callosum. So, corpus callosum is the one which is connecting cerebral hemispheres, perfect. This statement is correct only. The brainstem consists of medulla oblongata, pons and cerebrum. So, here this is the one which is wrong. It should be cerebrum is not the part of this. Actually, no part of the forebrain is a part of the brainstem. So, thereby that is incorrect. So, if the statement is incorrect of the given options, you can see statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect, this is the condition, right. Right. In 2024 CB, so you cannot understand what exactly CB is. In certain centers at that time, due to problem with the lecturers, whoever, I mean the invigilators who are conducting, for those centers only these questions were be given. So, that is why you cannot take it as a regular question. So, in those centers only, for those people only this was given. So, again they also given matching only limbic system, arachnoid, corpus callosum, hypothalamus. If you see again, limbic system is the one which is obviously the consists of what we say amygdala. Try to recall amygdala, hippocampus, inner parts of cerebral hemispheres will form a limbic system, thereby 3. And just now, as I said earlier, A3 means only this one, obviously this will be the answer, but anyhow we will confirm that one. So, arachnoid is a cranial meninge. Actually, this is inappropriate to call it as meninge, because singular should be called as meninx, but NCERT gave that one, we have to follow. I mean, NEET, the NTA people they gave, we have to follow. And this corpus callosum is the one which is obviously the next tract of the nervous fibers, and hypothalamus is obviously that what we say for the remaining part, that is maintaining the body temperature, thereby said thermostat of the body, right. So this is the one 2024, that is the one which is happened for the CB. I explained what is the CB briefly. Next, if you go a little bit previous one, 2023, there is only one question here. You can see the parts of the human that help in regulation of sexual behavior. So the movement, regulation of sexual behavior, expression of excitement, pleasure, rage, etc. Simply they are asking limbic system along with the hypothalamus. Observe that one directly, the limbic system along with the hypothalamus is involved in all this one. So this is 2023 questions, and in 2023 Manipur there was separate examination. Actually they gave only one question. For this question is for Manipur people, not for the remaining all. Earlier question was very common for all. So again here also same one, brain stem. So the brain stem consists of means obviously midbrain, pons, medulla oblongata, direct textbook wording only, nothing more on this one. So here, as I said, the brain stem does not involve anything related with the forebrain. So second option forebrain is there, first option hypothalamus is forebrain, third option in the fourth option also obviously the corpus callosum, that is also part of the forebrain. That's why that cannot be the answer. Answer is the one which is mentioned there, right. So these are the some of the questions which were given earlier from 2023, 24, 25 sample questions which I have mentioned. So this chapter weightage, as I already have mentioned, is usually one only, right. And in same year two questions, rarely they are the ones which are being asked. As I already said earlier, there are no sense organs. Earlier there used to be sense organs in the previous syllabus. They used to get 2 questions. Now only 1 question. Have a great day everybody.